Hello, thank you so much for watching the Sashiko channel. This is Atsushi. I'm the Sashiko artisan and storyteller about Sashiko. I share some stories about Sashiko and Boro on my Facebook, Instagram, and also website, and sometimes on the YouTube here. This YouTube channel has three major purposes. I have three topics to cover on this YouTube channel. The first purpose is to share the unedited and unmodified original view of Sashiko. I share some Sashiko live streaming. We name it differently. Sometimes say Sashiko Talk, or sometimes Sashiko Room, or sometimes Sashiko live streaming. Regardless, I share unedited version of my stitching so you can learn what Sashiko is look like. Sashiko was a part of the Japanese ordinary life. I do not know many Sashiko school. There are some Sashiko school, but I do not know there are a lot of Sashiko school in Japan. The people learn Sashiko from their parents, from their grandparents. It was more like domestic practice. I learned from my family as well. And in those cases, there are not so much structured curriculums. It is more like learning by looking. That's how Japanese practice was passed down. I would like to offer that scenery. So my Sashiko live streaming, it can be Sashiko Talk or it can be Sashiko Room, is one of those challenge to offer an edited version of my Sashiko stitching so you can learn from that. The second purpose of this Sashiko channel is to share the stories about Sashiko. Sashiko became a pretty big trend in 2020, 2021, and many people applied their stitching with the name Sashiko, and I'm happy about it. At the same time, I would like to avoid unnecessary change in Sashiko. I understand the Sashiko or the culture is supposed to be changing over time. I am not going to deny the necessary change. However, I do not want to see the change more than necessary by someone's convenience or ignorance. So I would like to share what is my knowledge or wisdom of Sashiko that I have received from my family or from my teachers. So there's a category called Sashiko Stories. I explain what is the difference between Sashiko and Boro. I explain about Sashiko's history, Sashiko's terminology. Please watch those series of Sashiko Stories to understand, to enrich your knowledge about Japanese Sashiko. Sashiko is more than just stitching. The third purpose of this Sashiko channel is to share some of the tutorials of Sashiko. It is kind of difficult, it is kind of challenging to share the universal rule of Sashiko because Sashiko existed in many places in Japan. It means that there are a lot of kinds of Sashiko in Japan. Each region has its technique, its style, and its form. So it is very difficult and sometimes dangerous to share the universal rules or technique. However, as the sample, as the benchmark of one Sashiko, I am sharing some of the techniques, some of the information as the tutorials to share what Sashiko is like for us. At the same time, everybody has different hand, different size of hand, different movement, different tendencies. So sometimes you may find it difficult to use the thimble or needles as we use. In those cases, I strongly recommend taking the online class or Sashiko workshop I offer so that I can offer the personal attention to your learning. I am 100% sure, I am close to 100% sure that everyone can learn the Sashiko as we do today. of course, sometimes practice might be required, but as soon as sometimes people get it within a few hours, that they can do the stitching like we do. So it is the matter of practice, and at the same time, I can probably navigate you to go through the easiest route without a detour. These three are the main topic of this Sashiko channel. I'm going to spend more time on YouTube. I have not replied the comments. I have been pretty busy under COVID, and I am trying to spend more time on YouTube to communicate more. And I will try to share more stories. I will share more tutorials, and I will focus on the Sashiko talk and Sashiko room, so I can keep sharing the unedited and unmodified version of Sashiko stitching. Please leave the comments so that I can talk about your questions on the next Sashiko talk or next Sashiko room. Or sometimes, if the question is valid, I can probably make a Sashiko story videos or even tutorials on that. Again, I will spend more time on YouTube. I will be more accountable for what I do. Thank you so much, and I will see you more. Thank you. I forgot about mentioning one thing. This is about the links and also the URLs. I have several platforms to share the Sashiko stories. The biggest one is on the Instagram and Facebook. I share one Sashiko story per day, sometimes more than one stories, but I try to share at least one stories per day. Please follow those link account. I listed there on the YouTube description page. Also, I do have the website, so-called Upcycle Stitches, where you can purchase Sashiko supplies. Your purchase is directly helping me as well as the other Sashiko artisans and suppliers in Japan. So your support, your purchase, your choice is very much appreciated. The third one is the Patreon. I realized that sharing my honest, very sincere, honest opinion, since honest experience, in the anonymous platforms such as Instagram is very, very dangerous. I sometimes had a very difficult time. Harassment was happening. I mean, it can be very challenging, can be very dangerous for me to be so vulnerable. So I made a platform I use the platform so-called Patreon, where I can get your support and I write what I feel very much honestly and sincerely. I also paste the link on the description page. It would be great if you could support what I do. As much as I stitch Sashiko, I am spending a lot of time on writing and sharing and also making YouTube videos. So if you could help me out, support me by reading those articles, that'd be very much appreciated. All right, thank you so much. Please leave the comment. I will try to make videos and try to reply as much as I can. Thank you.